This is Romero Brito Inspired Chickens. Romero Brito is an amazing artist from Brazil. He makes colorful paintings and brings lots of joy and lots of cheer. Let's get started. Hello friends, we are going to be drawing a Romero Brito chicken. Chickens are lots of fun, and Romero Brito is a fun, energetic, festive artist. And we are going to draw first a profile. That means a side view of the chicken's face. You can add a little bit of a body and other details, and then I'll show you how to draw the profile of a full-size chicken. You need a paper and a pencil and an eraser if you make a mistake, and later on you're going to need a Sharpie and some other fun supplies. I'm going to begin my chicken by making a circle for the head as best as you can. If your paper is very big, you can make a fist or open your hand and then draw a circle to fit your hand. That's what I would do on a 12 by 18. On a smaller paper, I would do a fist. Okay, now we are going to make the chicken's neck and the rest of the body. Okay, a little bit of a neck and then the shoulder belly area. All right, now we are going to make a triangle for the beak. Think of proportion. If your head is about this big, you don't want a super small beak about that big, right? So we have to think about how size matches. That's what we call proportion. Now we are going to make the little wattle, okay? And you can make a line in the middle of the beak if you want to. I also added just a little oval for the nostril. Okay, for this chicken's eye, I did just a sleepy eye and a few eyelashes. If you want, you can also do an open eye. An open eye, there's many different ways to draw an open eye. You could just do a circle with a pupil inside. And then this can be the color of the chicken's eye. All right, we'll talk more about that later, but that's an eye. This would be the head and the beak. So do you get it now? You can do eyelashes if you wanted to. I'm gonna stick with my sleepy eye for now. Now, Romero Brito puts lots of different details and symbols on his drawings and paintings. Here on this chicken, I put a crown because a lot of the times when they have that crest, it kind of looks like a little crown. You can do other details if you like. If you want it just to make the top of the chicken's head, you could do that too. It's curvy line, curvy line, curvy line. And then we can decorate inside. For example, you could break it down into sections. Okay, looking pretty cool. I put a heart on the chicken's cheek. Romero Brito does lots of heart art. You could do that, or you could put hearts on the chest. On this one, I just did U's to resemble the feathers on the chicken's body. And notice how I'm drawing big and simple, okay? You wanna go simple. If you want, you can make the wings. It's kind of like a dancing chicken now, okay? And then a few lines. All these lines are gonna break down our spaces so we can have more details, patterns, colors, etc. So now I'm going to trace my chicken with my Sharpie, and then I'll focus on the background. Now I'm going to show you how to draw the full-size profile of a chicken. We are going to begin with a straight line and then a curvy line, sort of like a cereal bowl, as best as you can. Now we're gonna draw a head. I would just do a simple curvy line, okay, right up here. Sort of like an upside down letter U. And then we're gonna do the beak. Remember proportion. If you have a medium-sized body, you need a medium-sized beak. Not too small, not too big. Okay, don't forget the wattle. And then we are going to make the head crest. You can make a head crest or you could put a little crown on it. You choose. Okay, I'm going to do my sleepy eye. And now we are ready for the tail. The tail I think I'm gonna keep pretty geometric. Okay, sort of like a rectangle. And then you can break that down into different spaces for different patterns. Okay, now we're gonna make the wing. And then some chicken feet. Make sure, again, proportion, that the size of the feet and the legs match the size of your chicken's body. You don't want super tiny feet and a big old chicken, or backwards. Now we are ready to trace with Sharpie, just like we did with the first chicken. After you are done outlining with Sharpie, get a good eraser and erase all your extra pencil marks. Now that we are done drawing the main body of our chickens, I did add a little heart to this one just for more interest and more Romero Brito inspiration. Now we are going to divide up the background. You will need a ruler. On my 12 by 18 paper, I did quite a bit of sections, if you see here. You don't have to do that many. We can just do a few. I would say from 3 to 5 is great. Some people just do 2. So I would maybe put your ruler somewhere, like this is good. We are going to trace on the right side of the ruler, skipping over the chicken. Do not draw lines on the chicken. All right, so we are going to trace this line here, skip the chicken, pretend, and keep going. All right, so we have one straight line. You can also, after you have your good line, place your ruler on there again and trace over it with your Sharpie. Sometimes kids, when they trace over a perfectly good line, it gets a little wobbly. So if you use the ruler with the Sharpie, that's totally fine too. All right, so we have one section here for our background and a big one here. We need to break this one up. So we are going to make maybe one line here and stop. And then I'm gonna get my Sharpie. And now I have one line here, one section here. I'm going to place it over here. This one's quite big, so I'm gonna break this one up into 2. And with my Sharpie, I'm now going to line up my ruler again and trace that line. So on this chicken, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. If you feel like this one is too big, you can make another one, your choice. Now I'm going to put a few details inside of each, and then I'm gonna show you how we are going to magically color each section with tissue paper and water. So Romero Brito does a lot of different symbols. We are going to do just a swirly line, sort of like falling confetti, and just a few little dots. You do a swirl, sort of like a snail. You start big and you keep getting smaller and smaller, whatever other pattern you like. Sometimes I like to see little chicken footprints. I know they look like arrows. You could draw something different. You could do a flower, or you can just leave it open, and then after we do the painting, then you can do some fingerprints of flowers, etc. So I'm gonna leave these 2 blank for later, for other things. All a heart is a curvy line, sort of like a little candy cane, curvy line on the other side. This is gonna be my heart pattern. All right, maybe I'm gonna leave that one blank for some stamping of some flowers. Maybe I'll do the confetti here. We are going to be adding color to our background with just little squares of tissue paper, a little bit of clean water, and a brush. That's all it is. We're gonna do magic. Okay, really it's science, but we're gonna call it art magic. So I'm going to dip my brush in the water, put some water over one of my sections. I'm gonna try not to get it on the chicken. If it's too big, you can maybe tear it a little bit smaller. And I'm gonna put the tissue down, and then I'm going to put water on top of it again. This is called bleeding tissue paper. That means that it is going to leak color on your paper. Now I'm gonna put some water here again, just a little bit. I don't wanna flood it. And place my tissue paper over it, and then put some water, a little bit more on top. And then I'm gonna place another square. Can the squares overlap? Yes, they can. As long as the colors kind of go together. Notice I'm using all cool colors, green, blues. I have some purples. So all the cool colors are gonna go in one area. Got it? And now I'm gonna rinse my brush. I'm gonna let that dry a bit. I'm gonna skip these two parts because I'm gonna make these two warm colors. Warm colors are the colors that reminds us of the sun, like reds, orange, and yellow, okay? Pink can also be considered a warm color because pink comes from red. I'll rinse my brush really well. Put some clean water on my paper where the tissue is gonna go. And then place my squares where I need them. I'm getting more confident here with my tissue. And then I'm going to get more water and put it on top of the tissue. Water, tissue, water, water, tissue, water. After we are done with the tissue and the tissue has dried, I peeled all the tissue off, and it's gonna act just like this. Ta-da! It just comes straight off your paper. We are ready to add paint to the sections inside of your chicken. This is my finished chicken here. I painted some areas but left a lot of white for highlights and just emphasis on my picture. Okay, so here I have a plate with different colors of tempera paint, and I have some flathead brushes. I have a medium flathead and a small flathead, depending on how big the area is that you are going to be painting. For example, here, if I want the head crest, and you don't have to stick to traditional colors, you can use, get creative and use some of these other colors. So for example, if I wanted a blue head crest, why not? Usually this is red, but if you wanted it green or yellow or orange, that's artistic. Remember, this is an artistic chicken. Okay, so I'm gonna paint this. I'm gonna paint other areas. Take your time. Flathead brushes are really good for lines. The edges, if you hold it like this flat, it gives you a nice smooth edge. See that? If your brush starts to run out of paint, then you dip it again. Don't paint with a brush with just a little bit of paint on it. Okay, this paint was enough to spread throughout the entire head crest. Okay, now I'm gonna rinse my brush, or you can swap out to a smaller size. I think I'm gonna use orange here in this shape. Okay, maybe I will use orange and some of these shapes on the chest area, the little feather pattern that we created. And you just keep going. Try your best to stay inside of the lines. If you end up getting paint on the Sharpie, that's okay, because at the end, when the paint dries, we can go over those same lines that you drew with a thicker marker. Here I added extra lines, maybe the thickness. Romero Brito has some really thick lines in his areas. I have yet to trace that one. And the marker that I used is Artistro paint marker, and this one is a medium point and it's water-based. You can also use, if you don't have this, you can use a black crayon, you can use black color pencil, or you can use a Sharpie. Okay, some people like to have their students make these lines with a thinner brush and black tempera paint. That works too. Whatever look you're going for, that will be great. And if you want to, if you have extra time, if you have the supplies, you can use some sponges and stamp some patterns along the background. I think I'm gonna add some gold to this one to jazz it up. Okay, I hope you enjoyed my lesson. Okay, keep creating. See you later.